So I just got back from speaking at two back-to-back events. One in Orlando, had a chance to speak at Faith Over Fear, and then flew to Memphis to do another event for about 600 people, which was a great day. And got home yesterday, and I'm doing this stream for two reasons. One, I've had to do a couple of tests today. I'm on a new microphone. I've had some latency issues. So I'm actually doing this through StreamYard to find out if I'm still having latency issues. But at the same time, I wanted to also, in this case, share something with you that I think is a big difference maker in terms of how much, I don't care what you sell. It doesn't, I mean, if you're in any kind of relationship building business, if you're in sales, this is something I talked about this weekend at both of these events. And, because I don't want to just come on here and go live and talk about latency issues, even though I still might be having them. I'll find out after this is done. One thing that I find interesting, and well, there's two things that I want to share. Okay. And so we'll keep this brief. So I want to make sure this isn't just a Todd test. Number one, so speaking at the second event that I spoke at on Saturday, and I want you to internalize this. This is a question that I asked this audience. I've done this a bunch of times, but I told the story of the time I did this before. We had that 2-year experience where we couldn't leave our houses, and the fantasy became a reality. And then I asked the same audience this question. This is really interesting. This would be cool. If you run teams, which probably a lot of you guys do, this is a really fascinating question to ask. And that is, let's say you're doing a weekly Zoom for your organization, right? And I'll phrase it to you the way I phrased it to this audience. I said, okay, so you guys are here. This is awesome that you're at this event, that you're showing an eagerness and curiosity that you want to win, that you want to learn, that you want to figure this out. You've left your house for a couple days, put yourself up in a hotel, paid to be at this event, spending time away from your family. Clearly you have other things you could be doing, but you're here to learn. So that's what these people came for. So my question I asked this audience, I've done this many times. This would be interesting for you to do this, and then maybe dig with your team. So the question was, okay, how many of you in the room, by a show of hands, want to make enough money from this business that you're all in, that you're all here for this event, where your life could be overflowing with abundance as a result of this company that you're in? You didn't have to have a job or a second job or borrow money. The business that you're in, created enough cash flow where you're paying the bills, you're putting money away, money's not an option, or money's not an issue, and life is good. And of course, how many of the hands in the room went up? In other words, another way I phrase that is also, in other words, your life could depend on it, right? You're earning enough money from this business that you're all here for this event for. In that business, you could depend on it. Your life could depend on it. So that I just want to make sure you're getting the verbiage that I used. And then, okay, cool. So that was literally, from what I could tell from stage, 100% of the room. If not, it was 98% of the room. And then my second question, and this is the kicker. Okay, cool. How many of you honestly can say that up until now you're working your business as if your life depends on it? And it was wacko, because 99% of the hands that were up went down. So there's a huge miss there, right? So you want your life to be able to depend on it, but you're not working as if your life depends on it. You guys see the massive mismatch. And every single time I've done this, either on Zoom or on a platform, that's the same exact response. So this would be, and I would be again, I don't know if my lips are moving at the same time and the sound is coming out. I'll figure that out when I'm done. I'm still dealing, potential latency issues with this new sound setup, which we'll get it dialed in. But again, I'm curious, run it. This would be an interesting Zoom to run for your team, where you gather the crew, and of course everybody, I want to make a bunch of money, I want to be super successful, I want to be full-time in this thing, I want to be abundant and all of that. And then, okay, cool, I get that, but are you acting in such a way, do you feel honestly that you're acting in such a way that are you acting as if your life depends on it? Because I always say this, and I know I sound like I'm repeating myself because I am, that in order for your life to depend on it, you need to be acting as if your life depends on it. And just for a point of clarity, that does not mean that you have to go full time. So I just want to be very clear, because the truth is most people that get involved and that are involved in network marketing, well over 50% of them, probably closer to 80%, are, and I'm sure there's statistics on that I'm not going to go bother to pull up right now, but let's say it's a high percentage. Those of people are part-time, and many of them stay part-time, but you can still be fully engaged in the business and treating the business as if your life depends on it, even if you're working, an hour a day or 2 hours a day, because the degree of focus on the right kinds of activities in your business. And then another way I've phrased this is part-time, but fully engaged. It's a really interesting concept. That means that you may be putting in an hour a day or 2 hours a day, and this is a side business, a side hustle, side gig, or whatever you want, whatever you call it, at least for now. But you know everything. I mean, maybe you don't know all the answers to everybody's questions, but when your Zoom meetings are, what your product packages are, you understand how to rank advance in your company. If I were to say, where's your company based, you would be able to tell me, oh, it's based in Salt Lake City, Utah, or the CEO of our company is John Doe, or, it was founded in 2008, or whatever nobody's going to necessarily drill you with those questions, but all the things that a full-timer would know. That's what I mean by part-time, but fully engaged. So I just think it's just an interesting question to ask. Okay. And I think it can be a game changer, because then if you can identify, going back to the main point, which is, okay, everybody says they want their life to depend on it, but few are acting as if their life depends on it. So then you could say, hey, Janice, okay, so I see that you raised your hand and said you want your life to depend on it, but you honestly admitted that you're not acting as if your life depends on it. Let's talk about that. What's up? Why is that the case? Why do you feel that's the case? Why are you not doing that? And then I don't know. I don't know that we can move the percentage needle of success stories. I think we could. I'm not entirely confident in that. I don't know if the numbers just naturally work out the way that they do, but I know for a fact that we can have impact on individuals. You can take an individual that has doubt, fears, self-worth issues, and those people can be developed. So if one person can be developed and shifted and changed, then why can't lots and lots of people go through those same shifts? Of course, it takes the willingness and the courage to, self-identify where you feel like your flaws are, where you feel your, blockages or obstacles are, and then be able to tackle those things one at a time. But I don't know, it's just an interesting, it's always fascinating to me when I'm on the stage at a network marketing event, or any event for that matter. Most of them are network marketing events. And you have people that all want to, but then they're not doing it. It's one of the reasons I run accountability programs. So, because it's kind of like it's a way of forcing people to do things that they already want to do, but they're just not able to do it on their own. So that's why, a lot of people need a little love, a little helping hand, a little nudge, a little tug, a little, a little encouragement, a little hand holding. So, yeah. So anyhow, just some thoughts. I mean, honestly, I did this live more to figure out if I still have latency issues. I don't know. I can see myself over here, and my lips are moving and the sound is coming out. But when I do a Facebook Live, it doesn't work. So I decided to do this one through StreamYard. So I will find out when I go look at the comments in a second and finish this. But I figured I'd give you some value at the same time. So I hope you're having a great Monday, and we will see you later. All right.